Our big focus this hour, the Union Government of India has responded in Parliament on the issue of Chandrayaan-2, India's mission to the moon, today when opposition raised the issue in the upper house. Yes, government said that Chandrayaan-2 cannot be called a failed mission. The country learned a lot from that mission. The government further asked people to keep faith on ISRO scientists since the mission was a huge source of learning and was close to success. This after the Trinamool Congress raised the Chandrayaan issue in the Rajya Sabha today. If we can, let's quickly play out for you what Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh said. Dr. Jitendra Singh, of course, remember, is the minister concerned for this particular department of space technology. Let's just quickly play out what Dr. Jitendra Singh today said in Parliament.
The Honourable Prime Minister was himself there physically present and had a very constructive interaction. Just to quote two of his sentences, and I quote what the Prime Minister said: "Despite setbacks in landing, we must remember that Chandrayaan had quite successful journey up till now." So I think that sums up. Now to qualify on elaborate on that, just to take 2 minutes, scientifically there were two components of this mission, which includes your orbiter part also. One was the scientific objective, the other was technological, which they say. Now, scientific objectives have been fully accomplished, which include moon surface mapping, topographical studies, radar-based studies, etc., etc. Technologically, the launch was successful, entry into the Earth's orbit was successful, then entry into the lunar orbit was successful. Orbiter is very much there, as you have said. That means, in other words, just to add to what you said, I'm glad that you have made us all aware of that. In the subsequent attempt, this will cut down on the cost as well, because the lander is also there. So orbiter has functioned normally. It was only in the last, say, about 30 kilometers that this incident or episode took place, which I would not describe as a failure. But as I said, this has made us wiser. And as the Prime Minister in another sentence mentions, the setback to the landing has only made India's resolve stronger.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's open this up. Joining us live this evening is K. Siddhartha, Earth scientist and geostrategist. We also have Dr. V.N. Jha, former Joint Director of DRDO, joining us live on the broadcast. Abhijit Chavda, astrophysicist, is also joining us live. Colonel Dinesh Nain, satellite and missile systems expert, will be joining us shortly as well. Dr. V.N. Jha, let me begin with you first. Do you agree with the Union Minister's words there in Parliament when he said you cannot call Chandrayaan-2's mission a failure? It has made us our resolve stronger for the future and we have learnt a lot.
If you recollect through all the debates that we have had in the past following Chandrayaan to launch both from the Earth as well as the landing of the rover, we have always been saying it is an absolutely successful mission because there were many firsts that we have achieved. This was the first time that 4,000 plus, around 4,000 kg of the payload has been carried by PSLV, and that also is something of the payload which Gaganyaan will be carrying through this. So this was one. Secondly, on the first stop itself, we have been able to place the Chandrayaan into highly elliptical orbit, and that also we are able for the first time. Thirdly, it has acquired a trajectory, lunar trajectory, what was there. It is absolutely fail-proof trajectory wherein Chandrayaan just cannot miss the moon. And you know, this is something everyone tries to achieve for. Fourthly, we have placed the orbiter in its designated orbit, which it is going on right now, and it will continue going on for the years to come. Fifth, yes, the last part where the lander and the rover was supposed to go on for the soft landing, yes, there have been a setback in that, but that cannot be called a setback because for the first time, rover was going to do two studies of the moon surface, wherein the exact material of the moon surface could have been identified. Yes, that has not been done. And there are many corollaries in this mission. There are some issues, some elements which are going to be tracked by the orbiter, which is being done right now. Like say atmospheric, there is no atmosphere there, but still there are many trace elements there in the atmosphere. So that is continuing there. About a month back, you can recollect that the X-ray, the solar flare X-ray, when it falls on the moon, it gives a secondary X-ray, and that through that elemental analysis finds down on the surface. That is continuing being done. Yes, the seismic activity by the lander and few other things which were supposed to be done, that primary parameter is not being achieved because the lander could not land successfully. So, leaving that apart, it is absolutely successful mission. There is no two way about it, and we must have our head high. Just one small point. Why the opposition is, crying this fall? You can go back to the Indian history. We did, Sarita tried, opposition said, give us a proof. We did everything, and they always ask for the proof. So don't take it in that stride. ISRO has achieved what it has to, and that is what we are proud of.
Abhijit Chavda, are you in agreement with that? And before you, of course, give us your opening comments on the issue, I have to ask you, do you believe, Abhijit, that this is an issue which should not be politicized? At the end of the day, whether we succeed in space or not is the country's collective success or failure. There should be no politics over this. It's not a BJP success or a TMC success or a Congress success. Space technology and Chandrayaan 2 should not be politicized. Don't you agree?
Yes, I totally agree with that. We should keep politics out of education, we should keep politics out of history, and we should keep politics out of science and technology. Because scientific missions are something that advance the national interest, and whenever you have failures, it is just a stepping stone towards a success. So initial failures are the necessary price that we have to pay for eventual success. Let me give you an example. From 1958 to 1965, the United States and the USSR did 36 attempts to land on the moon, out of which 9 were successful, and there was a 75% failure rate. Now, these countries did not politicize these failures. They used them as stepping stones, as learning experiences. And that's why the United States never has a failure, almost never has a failure today when it comes to space exploration. So that's why we should not politicize these matters. And when it comes to Chandrayaan, it is not a failure by any stretch of the imagination, because the main or primary objective of the mission is to map the abundance and distribution of water and other minerals on the moon's surface. And all of that is going to be done by the instruments on the orbiter, which is perfectly fine. It is fully functional. It's going to function for at least 7 years. So the primary objective is going to be fulfilled. It's going to be a success. Now, when it comes to the lander, clearly we have more clarity today about what happened, what transpired. It looks like there was a software glitch during the fine braking phase of the landing maneuver, which is about 7 kilometers above the surface. So what ISRO will now do is they will go and analyze the data. They have not revealed all the data, and as they are privy not to, this data should be classified. So they will reanalyze all the data, and they will make improvements upon the lander, which is going to go next year in November. So what I can expect is that this time we will have more funding, and there will be a proper amount of testing, because all these systems and subsystems have to be tested hundreds of times.
So you clearly agree as well, Abhijit, that we have learnt a lot from this mission as well. We've learnt a lot from, of course, what went wrong, but we've learnt a lot from the progress of Chandrayaan 2 at the end of the day, all the way till so close to the moon's surface.
Yes, absolutely. It's a learning experience. You learn from every single data point that you receive.
Yes.
And that's why we need to incorporate that into the future mission. And as you see, the next mission is just 12 months from now. So which indicates that the government and the scientists have full confidence in their technical abilities. This was just a learning experience, and we're going to incorporate the lessons learned into the next mission. And I have no doubt that it's going to be successful this time.
Okay. Let's quickly bring back VN Jha at that point onto the discussion. Dr. Jha, at the end of the day, for the benefit of our viewers, what exactly went wrong? Let's just talk about that failure once again to finally land accurately on the moon's surface. What went wrong? So close, yet so far. It remained an elusive dream, of course, landing on the surface, perfectly natural as well. No country has done it. No space agency has done it. So it was, at the end of the day, not unconventional or not unexpected to fall short at that juncture. But what went wrong according to you? Why do you believe, let's revisit that moment for our viewers just joining us. Why do you believe there was not 100% success on this Chandrayaan-2 mission?
Well, I think we should refrain from speculating, and in the absence of the actual ISRO data, what we will be speaking, it will be more of a speculation. So let's refrain from that. But what we have seen during the trajectory of landing, what we could clearly see, in case if you had had that particular snapshot, how the trajectory was happening, there just 5 kilometers before the landing, at about 7 kilometers height, there was a tug of war going on between the motors and the AI control system. There were beaches from thereafter, and that continued following there. There was at one time the Chandrayaan, the lander was above the trajectory, and thereafter it came below the trajectory and it never recovered, and it just then we can say that it crashed just about 1.2 kilometers or so before the designated spot. But there are many ifs and buts in this. AI, artificial intelligence on board the lander, had that decision-making capability that in case if the spot A, option A is not fit for landing, it can select another place. So we always keep on asking now, did AI dictate that this particular space, this particular spot, 1.2 kilometers short of the actual, was the spot for landing? First. Secondly, we had a plan, ISRO had planned a hover about 400 meters above the surface. Was that 400 meters adequate? We have a feel that possibly there was a hillock sort of thing onto which Chandrayaan, the lander, which was coming for landing, still, after possibly with some forward speed, it crashed there. And that is how we found it toppled there at that stage. So, all these things are the gestures only. I request everyone, we should refrain from, just speculating. Unless ISRO gives us the exact information that this is what happened. But yes, there are many take-home materials from here. First, the motor thrust. I think they may like to augment the thrust of the motor. Secondly, the amount of fuel that the lander carries. They may certainly augment the amount of fuel that they carry. Thirdly, there should be always a primary parameter for the landing. This time, both orbiter and the lander had their parameters for landing with the laser as well. So, if orbiter also assists in subjugating the initial parameter of the lander, I think that will be good. So with these few things, I think ISRO is on their track, but I'm not sure whether with all these changes in the design, will they be able to stay in the designated time? Scientists, we always have a doubt. But then let's ISRO is a team which does all...
Colonel Dinesh Nayan also joining us at this point. Let's get in Colonel Nayan. Colonel Nayan, welcome to the broadcast. Your first comments on the issue resonating in Parliament today on the Union government's reply saying Chandrayaan-2 was not a success, much was learned from it. Was not a failure, beg your pardon, much was learned from it.
Well, Uday, my first reaction would be let's not politicize this, because we must respect the scientists who are doing hard work and getting us glory in spite of very, very little time and very, very low fundings. Secondly, yes, the Chandrayaan-2 did not succeed, because as last time also, if you remember when we were discussing, there was a topic, initial information had come out that ISRO is trying to strengthen the legs of lander. At that time also I said that starting from the forced landing, which started at last time of Chandrayaan-2 from 30 kilometers above the lunar surface, at a speed of 1653 meters per second, when it came down after the rough braking phase to the absolute navigation phase, the speed at 7.1 kilometers should have been around 145 meters per second.
Okay.
But there the speed at that time was 205 meters per second, and the distance at which the lander was, it was 7.6 kilometers above the lunar surface. Now we were having two apprehensions without getting any information, which now fault analysis committee of ISRO has given, that either the speed was too low, that in controlling it, the logarithm and you can say algorithm and the software, that is the artificial intelligence, must have given some command, and those commands probably were not appropriate, and hence it's toppled. Second was that out of the 4 engines which were working to reduce the speed horizontally as well as vertically, and when absolute navigation phase started, the Chandrayaan 2, which was traveling at 45-degree angle, when it turned to 90-degree to see through the cameras as to where it is landing and try to navigate itself, at that time probably one of the propulsion system, or you can say the engine, may have misfired, or the speed was too high, and because of which it toppled in a different direction and its legs went up, and instead of the speed reducing, the speed increased to there by 15 to 25 meters per second. Now coming down to the fine braking phase, when it was supposed to come up to 5 kilometers, above the lunar surface, if you see the speed at that time also, we were overshooting the speed horizontally as well as vertically. And at 400 meters above the lunar surface, the Chandrayaan 2 was supposed to come to 0 velocity and hover there to take the final decision to land. But at 2.1 kilometers above the lunar surface, we lost all the controls, and that's what happened. Now, fine, we have failed, okay. But as far as the mission is concerned, it didn't fail 100%. Our orbiter is still orbiting, and what we achieved from the orbiter is that instead of 1 year duration or its lifespan, because of the way ISRO has used the launching vehicle and the way we are attained in the earthbound phase, the free G, that is the distance on the Earth orbit, we could gain we could save a lot of fuel for the orbiter, and now it is going to stay for 7 years around the moon and give us a lot of information. So that is one achievement we had.
Okay.
Now coming down to what went wrong, and as per the fault analysis committee report which is being given, I think there are 5 points generally based on communications, navigation, command and control, and some latest thing to be added like LDV sensors, that is laser Doppler velocity sensors, which can sense the speed of the Chandrayaan in all directions starting from 20 kilometers above the lunar surface, and hence we will be able to do some corrections which we were not able to last time. And let me tell you that this LDV, laser Doppler velocity sensor, was placed on Chandrayaan 2 also, but when we were doing some trials, it didn't work out properly. That's why it was not going there. And finally, in communication as well as into the power and energy, we are going to have 3 sides of the lander Vikram now covered with solar panels to get more energy. The 4th side, where the rover is going to be placed on the lander, we have not yet decided. It will be probably decided by ISRO whether to place the solar panels there to get extra energy in case the sunlight does not reach there in next landing. And lastly, the antennas are being increased.
I want to
more
take
in
that
number,
to Abhijit Chavra. Let him also come in. Abhijit Chavra, what are the pros of the Chandrayaan 2 mission according to you? The positives that are being learned now from the mission and the progress that it made. As VN Jha is saying, let's not speculate too much on where we went wrong, how we went wrong, what we went wrong, because that's something that only ISRO knows. And once they publish perhaps a white paper, then we get to know the exact specifics. Or perhaps for security reasons, it will not be disclosed right now. Perhaps it will be disclosed at some point in the future once we do land on the moon. But Abhijit, what are the benefits that we have gained from this mission in our race ahead to hopefully land on the moon and perhaps land a man on the moon as well?
Yes, so the positives that I can think of are many. First of all, we have this confirmation that ISRO has perfected the art and the science of constructing durable and robust spacecraft. For example, the Mars orbiter mission is a similar kind of mission to the Chandrayaan 2 orbiter. It's an orbiter around a space body. So the Mars orbiter mission was placed in 2014. It's still functional. It was supposed to function only for 6 months. It is still functional today. And similarly, Chandrayaan 2 was supposed to function for 1 year, but we are now expecting that it will be able to function for 7.5 years or more. So that clearly tells us that ISRO has perfected the science of creating and constructing robust and durable spacecraft. The other thing is that all the scientific instruments are working perfectly fine. So that is also a plus point. And they are going to provide data that is going to be critical for future long-term human presence on the moon. And as far as the lander goes, ISRO will definitely have been able to pinpoint where the machine went wrong, and those learning points will be incorporated into the next mission, which is why we have a very short turnaround time till the next mission. So now the interesting thing for me is the next mission, which is just 12 months from today, Chandrayaan 3. So now the details have not been released yet, what exactly it's going to incorporate. We know that it's going to be a lander only and a rover. There will be no orbiter because we already have an orbiter around the moon, which is perfectly fine. So what I would like is that I would like the lander and the rover to be functional for more than 14 Earth days. Because the Chandrayaan 2 lander and orbiter and rover were supposed to function for just 14 Earth days as long as the lunar day lasted. So I would like the Chandrayaan 3 lander and rover to have radioisotope thermoelectric generators and radioisotope heater units, which provide artificial radioactive heat to the machine.
I'm going to have to stop you there. We're getting breaking news coming in at this point. Let's go straight.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.